on this page, if you were ratifying this contract, a yes vote and a no vote, okay? So if you vote no, you're voting for the mayor to declare fiscal urgency and reach in and grab those 5 things I described, okay? So a no vote does not mean we're not going to give money. We would all vote for that in a heartbeat, right? None of us want to give the money. But if no vote means the mayor calls fiscal urgency and reaches in and grabs those 5 things. Our yes vote is those 5 things we give voluntarily, but in exchange, we leverage these other things. Those other things are huge. We get a seat at the table with our experts. We are going to hire, and we have hired already, the Cyberry Group, who turned around Cook County to be SEIU's consultant. They're not going to be paid by management, they're going to be paid by us. We're going to have 100% control. We're going to send them into the financial world and do what they call forensic accounting and diagnose that broken system where we are losing millions of dollars a year. Our expertise is clinical. We don't need someone to tell us what staffing should be. We know what safe staffing should be. We already know we're staffed to the bone. We don't need a consultant to come in and tell us how to staff our units. We know how to do that safely. We can handle the fiscal or the clinical efficiencies. If there's any to be had in our areas, we can take care of that. We need someone to go where we have no expertise. None of us, unless we have another profession on the side, have any idea about the fiscal world, I would assume, the billing, the revenue cycle. So that's where we want our experts to go. If we're going to invest $110 million, we want some experts in there watching our $110 million. Nowhere in life would you give somebody $110 million and say, good luck. If you were giving somebody $110 million in a business deal, you would say, and I want to see your books every 2 weeks, and I want to be at the table with you when you make decisions, and I want to watch my money work. So that's what we bargained here. When you vote yes, you're voting for an efficiency task force that is the labor management, that we have a say. 2 Fridays ago, Dave Woolsey, one of our attendings from the ER, Barbara Scallon, one of our nurses from MI, Lisa Pascal from OT, got together and looked at all your ideas that you've been putting on our website about efficiencies. They picked some of the best ones. They sat down with David Smalls, the COO, and they showed them $23 million in cost-saving efficiencies that labor put on the table in 1 hour sitting. Silly little things, you might think. In the ER, when a patient comes in, they draw blood. They also draw 2 blood culture bottles full of blood when they're sticking the patient, so they don't have to stick the patient if they need blood culture in the future. 95% of the time, they draw those blood culture bottles and they get discarded and never used. Those bottles cost $20 a set, cost. You stop that practice and just draw blood culture bottles when you need to, saves $4 million a year to Jackson. That alone is a $4 million savings. So those are the kind of ideas that you and I can come up with from the clinical setting that will help save money. You know, in the TICU, when we went through the Omnicell changes a couple years ago to save money, we saved hundreds of thousands of dollars just by adjusting the PAR levels. If we only use 3 Swan-Ganz catheters, in a week, then we didn't want a PAR 10, we wanted a PAR 3. And that saves a lot of inventory. At $150 a catheter, that saves a lot of money in inventory. So there's all kinds of cost-saving things we can do. Obviously, I've heard TICU has decreased your infection rates to 0. That's huge. That saves tremendous amount of money. Those best practices need to be shared throughout this hospital and decrease infection rates throughout the hospital. That's an easy way. That's the best practice that saves the patient the infection, but also saves the hospital tons of money on caring for that infection, from vent days, hospital days, antibiotics, etc. So that's a cost efficiency thing we can do. The good news about the bad news is the systems are so broken that there is a world of opportunity for us to improve. And we set it up with our additional, what we leveraged was a cost efficiency task force, which we will run. We've got gain sharing. For dollars we save, we get to establish the formula by which we will pay ourselves back. Okay, so the way we can earn back that 5% through these cost savings. We mandated in there, everybody gets the same concessions. We're not leaving it up to the mayor. Dr. Roldan and COO Smalls, everyone's going to take the same 5% cut. Okay, so I call it equal haircuts for everyone. And in doing so, there's no contracting out, right? The ER docs were on the chopping block to get contracted out. We've heard some things about PTOs being talked about being contracted out. said no more contracting out through this fiscal year, and after this fiscal year it has to be by mutual consent. We will never agree to contracting out. I can't think of the day when we would ever say, yes, let's contract out.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
I was just curious about what does that mean? Like when I saw that about the emergency room and trauma center,
Yeah.
contracting that out.
Right. We got,
does that mean?
well, they were going to contract out the ER docs. They were going to save $3 million a year by hiring Shoemaker to bring in the doc in a box and not have it be our doctors who've been there 20 years delivering the great quality care. We think that's a problem. Our doctors don't only deliver care in the ER, they sit on our P&T committees, they're integrated, they trained here, a lot of them, they're part of the system. Although they're Jackson paid doctors like you and I are Jackson paid healthcare workers, they're members of our union, they were going to be, their job was going to be sold out to the cheaper bidder. We're fighting that and we won that fight. No contracting out of the ER, of trauma, of the core. No contracting out of the core. So that's in there. So we did get some, what we consider, huge bonuses on top of giving what the mayor would have taken back from us. So I want people to understand that a yes vote means we're going to give the same thing the mayor was going to take from us if we voted no. But in addition to that, we've got some abilities for us to be at the table. Our experts will be integrated fully at the table with Pricewaterhouse. We will be at the table. We will have a cost efficiency task force into the future. We'll have a gain sharing potential to pay ourselves back whatever monies we save. I think that's everything.